Hi everyone, I'm Krista with KristaDoesNumbers. This is my co-host today, Brett Davis with Brett Davis Unleashed.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was weird.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. With me, I have my guest, Robb. He is also known as the bad boy of nutrition. You know, there's a song that comes to mind, and it's not that one. It's actually the one "Bad to the Bone." That's the one that comes to mind for you.
That's a good song.
Right?
Bad.
That's
Yeah,
right, man. That's it. So Robb's main mission is teaching people how to hang loose in an uptight world. Welcome, Robb.
Hey, glad to be here.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. So Robb, we just tell us a little bit about yourself, kind of like where you're from, what you're doing, how you're hanging loose. You know what I'm saying?
No, hanging loose. Story. I originally was born in Kansas City, Missouri, and
Okay.
as a kid, and then after I grew up, I moved to Southern California, or more specifically to San Diego, and established myself in the health food industry there. I originally took a job as a in the produce department of Jimbo's in North Park, and worked my
I
way up.
didn't realize Jimbo's had been around that long.
What do you mean that long? What do you mean by that long?
I just thought it was like maybe like in the last 5 years because I've only been seeing it in the last 5 years.
How do you know it's not 5 years? What are you trying to say?
So yes, so since '84, so I got involved in that.
Okay.
I'd already had a couple of fitness club, or I had a fitness club before that, and I taught bodybuilding, which is what my true interest was back in those days. Because I really was kind of a hippie. Then got into bodybuilding, was a hippie and a bodybuilder, and then I just kept it was kind of a weird.
Never thought about putting those two things together, so thank you.
Yeah, and then I liked the nutrition aspect of it, so that's what I went into the most, was into the nutrition and the organic foods and just the whole health aspect of it, and doing seminars. And then I founded my company, Robb Enterprises, in 1988, and wrote my book, The Fat Burning Diet, and launched my whey protein, or excuse me, my egg white protein back then.
Which is very delicious, by the way.
Yeah, we have it in the office. We're using it all the time.
Yeah, it's like a dreamsicle.
Yeah, I have a few thousand bags here too. So so my whole thing is educating and teaching people. So I did a lot with just teaching people how to burn fat, how to get fit, using my bodybuilding roots. You know, I know Brett is in bodybuilding too, and he's an accomplished bodybuilder. And I'm just fascinated by, transforming the body, eating right, being immune, and so on, and what we do. So away we go. And I just wanted to keep educating people. And that's what I've done for all these years, 500 seminars and a whole variety of things.
Nice.
That's 30 years.
You're a clinical nutritionist.
Clinical nutritionist, yes. So I teach people how to prevent illness, and if they do become ill, then I help them use natural means to allow the body to as best it can, heal itself.
Right. Okay, nice. So so you got into all of that with the nutrition, and I'm guessing once you started helping people, you realized you had a passion for it. So you just kind of continued on with that. And then, but how did you decide to start making this like into a business?
Making it
Or
into?
did it just sort of happen?
Which part into business?
Like you have your, well, let's just talk about the 21-day program that you have, that you've been working on.
Oh, okay. So that was the last 10 years of my life. So we'll just go backwards from 88 through about 10 years ago. So about to 2010, I taught fitness, nutrition, bodybuilding, different things like that, a lot of seminars and so on, and sold protein powder and taught people how to use protein powder. So 10 years ago, I was going to write a book on being a vegetarian, and I was working on it. And all these things started happening to me in my life. And at that time, I was going through a divorce, and I had health issues. I decided to move I got remarried. I moved to North Palm Beach, Florida from my homeland. I felt like of San Diego. And so all these things started happening to me. And so I had to do like a life reset. And so I realized in the last 10 years, I reset my life completely. I had just everything went completely upside down. And so I took all that I learned from that point forward and put it into my program that I created. But I also took the 20 years prior to that, actually the 30 years prior. And because my reset started in 1975 when I left the party life and the hippie party life, so to speak. Got into bodybuilding, got into health, got into all of that. That was my first life reset. I realized every year after that, I reset something else. Mind, body, spirit, everything. I went a full bore spiritual journey. Meditation, went through into enlightenment, the whole bit. I was all in. So I put all that together, and what I was going to produce a book. Very interesting. And God says, no, this isn't going to work. That's not going to work. And I was frustrated. So I started changing it up and put it into a step-by-step, day-by-day, 21-day life reset program. And that's how this came about. And it's comprehensive. It's an online program, and it covers everything from the mind reset, which I found was the hardest part or the most difficult part to get a person to change, was how they think. Because that's subconscious, and that's given to you at birth and from basically till age 6. You're programmed to be who you are. And once you're programmed, you're stuck with that for life unless you go in and rewrite the script to be whoever you want.
Yeah. It's so interesting that you put this out, because we're talking about this right now, because one of the things actually, and I'm kind of old. I'm not as old as you guys though, huh? Anyways.
Hey.
You're kind of old. We're just like, we're like dirt.
Yeah.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
But
have you seen his abs? He's not that old.
No, I haven't. But,
yeah, and he's young at heart. He's young at heart.
Yeah, you are, absolutely, which I love.
And he's an old soul.
Yeah. No, but so I realized these last few years, like I've actually myself have been on my own mindset kind of journey, and but yeah, like when you said from like 0 to 6, there's so much that I have to go back, and it's not like my parents intended to do that, because I know they loved me, but they were just being human, unfortunately, and there's just that thing, and so these core principle beliefs started accumulating in my mind, and I've been going with those for so long, and it's just been really difficult though to kind of like to take those negative thoughts and turn them around, and it's just been really but it's been a nice journey.
But you can't do that consciously. You can try consciously to do that, but when you do, you're always doing positive affirmations, and you're in counseling, you're doing all these things which can help, but they don't always soak in deep into the subconscious, because the subconscious has to be pretty much lulled to sleep or opened up. It's like you've got to dial in and get in.
Yeah, I do. I feel like I'm missing something, because even as I'm like trying to put these thoughts into my head, like at the same time, I still like there's this underlying like, no, it's still like this, and
your subconscious is still in play, and it will be until it's actually rewritten, and that has to be done in a hypnotic style. So it's like a self-hypnosis type situation you're going to be doing, and I'll make sure you get my audio recording of how to reprogram your subconscious.
I'm glad it's your voice, right? Because I like the sound of your voice.
It's my voice. It's absolutely.
Okay.
So
Are you saying he has a face for radio?
He does have a face for radio. Nah,
always a face. Always that face for radio. You can never lose a face for radio.
No, you have a very kind of like it's just the sound, it is. It's like this calming sort of meditative sound to his voice, and so that's why.
Always has.
Yeah.
So you will listen. Yeah. You will listen to the sound of my voice.
Exactly.
So the audio recording, I do lull you into that. So once I lull you into a completely relaxed state, your subconscious mind will open up, and it will allow thoughts to come in, and then I reprogram at that point with good thoughts. You know, you're smart, you're a good person, you're rich, you're always happy. Happiness, you know, is always in your life. Everything you do, everything you touch turns to gold. Any of those kind of things will be programmed in there. You know, your fear is not a part of your vocabulary. You're always courageous. You know, you just put that in there. Whatever was there just needs to go out. And once it goes out, then the new comes in. But I'll make sure you get that audio recording.
I'm excited for that.
I like to also hear the same thing, because, you know, I've been a student of yours for years, and I continue to study you, and I find that even going back to all your original stuff, it's good to revisit it.
Oh yeah, it's always good. It's always good to change up and move forward and
Sure.
let new things soak in. We're in an evolutionary process, and it's interesting that we can reprogram and we can move forward. But new stuff comes in, and you have to be very careful. I always tell people, you know, nourishment is not just what you put in your mouth to get to your stomach. It's what you put in your eyes and ears that go into your mind. And you have to be very careful with all nourishment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been reading some stuff. I have a book for Krista that Billy Graham.
You keep telling me that, and I have yet to see this book. Whatever.
I've been running around, but it's by I've been kind of going through your book that I'm going to give you, and I found the gift I was going to give her. I've been reading it, and it's terrible. But it's the latest date.
You wanted to try it out for me first. I get it. It's cool.
It's daily. Something Jay should probably be thinking about writing is daily affirmations. And Billy Graham's daily affirmations from Scripture. Kind of like you don't plan on what you're going to do. It just kind of happens. But every day you have a different Scripture to study. And it's quick and it's fast and it gets to the point. But one thing I did find is that one thing that keeps coming back to mind is, you know, having that daily discussion and walk with Jesus, with God.
Yeah.
How important that is. Not just in the morning, but even through the day when we're trying to maybe find solutions to something, or maybe at the end of the day revisiting and, you know, just thanking the opportunities that we have to learn every day from the opportunities that Christ presents to us.
Oh, I couldn't agree more.
Like
Much of what we do is we end up talking.
Hurry up and read that book. Sorry. Go ahead, Jay. I apologize.
No, that's fine. No, it's always about listening, you know, with your two ears instead of one mouth, and that's very common. It's being still. It's like that's what I always encourage people. If you're quiet enough, if you can get your mind to calm down, you can hear that voice. You can hear God speak to you, and that's what people are missing. There's way too much chatter. There's way too much noise and confusion. And as long as the mind is afraid, as long as the mind is filled with words and thoughts and processes, then that little silent voice cannot be heard. And when you can't hear the voice, you're lost. You're truly lost.
Right.
Krista and I were talking the other day about how this whole COVID thing has isolated people to where they're more in their houses and they're freaking out. And more than likely, we're going to see higher suicide rates because of this. And I wonder why we're not hearing more about how important it is to walk with Christ and be more Christ-like and read Scripture. Because I think right now, a lot of these people that are having these challenges, of course, mental challenges are, if people need to be on medication, it's a different situation. Maybe they're not able to understand that. But I wonder how many of these suicides subside if they followed basic Scripture in Christ.
Yeah, people need that hope, because what's happening is fear is moving into the mind, and once the mind is basically filled up with fear and doubt and uncertainty, then anything can happen. And so, yes, I agree. People should be encouraged to do something different than they're doing. It's not about getting a vaccine or doing anything like that. When we're confined, we should be quiet. We should listen. We should, like you said, read Scripture. It should be a spiritual journey. This is almost like driving us. We have to look at the positive side, driving us back into a cave so we can go inward instead of be stuck in the material world, wallowing about.
So how has this whole pandemic, you know, affected you with your businesses that you have, and what have you been doing to sort of like overcome finding solutions or whatever they may be?
Well, we were very fortunate. 3 years ago, our company, I took it and made it more less of a carbon footprint, so to speak. We sold our corporate office. I downsized, I outsourced, and I did, and most of our employees work from home. And so that's tremendously in that area. The second part is, this is going to keep job security for me. And I don't say this in any cavalier way whatsoever. I'm not going down that pathway at all. But what I teach people to hang loose and to relax and to let go and to obviously turn to God for everything instead of turning to the news or government or even people. We have to turn inward. We have to go to the source. And so what my message is, and that goes into my 21-day life reset, which is really just a spiritual journey. When I see this and I see what's going on, it fires me up even more to do what I do, which is I'm an educator. That's really, if you put a label on me, I don't like labels. If you did, I'd say I'm an educator. And right now I do teach people how to hang loose in an uptight world. That's my job. And I'm willing, I'll keep doing that because it's definitely needed right now. And I'm gonna put myself out there completely to help people to just be able to calm down their mind, to teach them to meditate, to teach them to be quiet, to teach them to hear God's voice, to teach them what they've never been taught before, not what we're being encouraged to do either. And to get out to the beach, go to that beach.
Our office is exactly probably about a mile away from the Hotel Del, right on Orange Avenue in Coronado.
Yeah, I know right where you are.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful area to come to work to every day. Very clean, and I'm out every day. I'm outdoors. I mean, what's your take on the isolation indoor thing and what we're being told to do and building the immune system by the things that we've been taught by you and some of the greats?
What was the last part of the question?
What's your take on the whole isolation thing that we're being told to do and not going to gyms, but yet our churches are also being closed and pawn shops are open and liquor stores are open? Doesn't it seem like an oxymoron a little bit?
Yeah, I can probably get riled up about this pretty good, but I'm not happy with how things are being mandated about the virus. It doesn't make common sense because you can't close beaches and churches and all these different things. You can't be selective and so on unless there's a money driver behind it. And money is obviously driving the narrative here more than anything else. There's an agenda. We're seeing the agenda. And having people, isolating people and getting them afraid makes them easier to be herded about. And keeping them away from the beaches has nothing to do with their health or well-being or stopping a virus. There's nothing scientifically proven to any degree that would help. In fact, it's the exact opposite. Not allowing people to assemble responsibly in a church or anywhere else is silly, yet you can still go to Walmart or wherever you can go shop around. That doesn't make sense. None of it makes any common sense. And so to me, what it's pointing out is that we, the people, must be very careful of what's going on. And we must not be apathetic in this particular case. We need to make sure that we question. I'm an old school hippie, and I really like to always exercise my old school hippie rules, and that is question, because you're going to get hoodwinked if you don't. And if you don't question it and speak up, someone will run you over. And then you go around starting trouble. That's not what I'm speaking of here, and I don't mean to. But I will take a stand, and this particular incident, this particular pandemic, I think has been overblown. And I'm not negating that people are harmed and hurt and die and so on. That's not what I'm saying. It's being overblown for a reason. And I think we need to get to the bottom of why is it being overblown, because we've had pandemics before, many pandemics, and the way we're behaving now is very different than any other pandemic.
Yeah.
I posted something on Facebook. I think it was sometime this morning. I can't remember the exact time because my sleep's broken all the time. I'm always getting up with ideas. But between 67 and 69, and right around the time of Woodstock, which I know you'll appreciate.
Oh yeah.
Actually between 67 and 100 and 67 and 69, over 100,000 people died of a flu.
Yeah.
And we're not hearing about it.
Yeah, I remember
They
that.
stop Woodstock, and they didn't stop
Yeah.
baseball games, and they didn't stop the things that they are stopping now. So, the agenda is there really something we don't know that maybe this virus is about? Because I do believe it was started in a lab. I don't think it's an accident, by the way. And then the other thing is, or is this thing just, there's something we definitely don't know. There's definitely a lot of questions.
There's a lot of just holes in the stories. Like that I think is very true.
And doctors are being told not to say things. I know doctors that have come out and are saying they're being silenced to say what they really believe.
Yeah.
I think there's so much unknown here, but common sense tells me that the behavior is odd. We're in an election year, and anything can happen. And so it seems convenient that we all get kind of pushed into a corner or isolated and disrupting our lives and disrupt a very healthy economy right now. It seems odd. And I believe that should be questioned, and it should be questioned hard. And I don't think it's something that we, the people, need to lay down on. I don't think, again, we don't need to riot or do anything crazy, but we need to question and say, hey, this isn't going to happen next year and the next year and the next year, because flu season continues on year after year after. And the part that bothers me, and I think this is a pharmaceutical push, which I'm a little bit at odds with. I'm not for vaccination, so to speak, in this particular incident, simply because it's too late by the time you develop something. I feel we're far better off to take account of our own lives, our own well-being, our own health, and boost our own immune system. I wrote an entire blog, a very lengthy blog, on how to boost your immune system for that reason. Why? Because your immune system is all you've got when you come up against any type of virus, bacteria, fungal infection, anything. They're all out to get you. And if your immune system dips, they will get you, one of those three. And so if you get your immune system up, and how do you do that? It's very simple. Take care of yourself, breathe good, get outside in the fresh air, go to the beach, go to the park, go outdoors, don't stay inside much. Get plenty of vitamin D from sunlight on your skin. Don't slather yourself in sunscreen all the time. Let the vitamin D get developed on your skin. Get out there and be healthy, do healthy things, be active. That's our immune system. Not isolate, go indoors, be afraid, do these things. And of course, put your faith in God, because that gives you peace of mind. When you have peace of mind, your immune system soars like nothing else. So
yeah, I agree with that. So Robb, what are your 10 commandments of business?
Oh, business. I love business. Business. 2 fitness clubs, I've had all that. Business is my thing, because the number one rule that I like to do is I like to encourage people to have a very clear vision and understand that you are creating a brand. That's the first thing that people make a mistake, whether you're a small business or a large business. Unless you create a brand that people understand or that people recognize, you don't really have anything. You just have a business. But if you have a brand, if you're a Nike, if you're an IBM, if you're a BMW, and there's a brand behind that, yes, there you go. So if you have a brand and a name, and you're branding yourself at all times, that's what's most important. You have to understand that the brand, you have to associate yourself, your brand. If you're the brand, you have to be associated instantly with 1 or 2 words, usually maximum. 1 word's the best, but 2 is the best. And it has to be, what do you associate with? And a good example of that is a brand like Kleenex, which was invented a long time ago, but it superseded or took over the word for a tissue.
Right.
And so you don't say, hand me a tissue. Sometimes people do now, but it used to be always hand me a Kleenex. Or
the Xerox, right? Can you Xerox this for me?
Yes.
That used to be the thing.
Yeah.
I remember people used to Xerox some of the most interesting things.
Yeah.
That's for another show, Brett. Gee whiz.
But we don't talk about that.
No wisecracks.
No puns intended here.
Done.
Never heard
Anyway,
I have
like
a
that.
sound for that.
There you go.
No, never. I don't know which one. it is.
Never hold a grudge. Turn the other cheek.
Fred.
Second part of business, I always like to talk about cash and carry. A lot of people get ahead of themselves, spend more than they make, spend more than they have, speculate too far ahead, want to live on borrowed money. Try to always cash and carry. Live as close as you can to the cash you have and stay liquid. Very, very
Okay.
important.
Yeah.
Third part in business, I like to tell people to hang loose. People get caught up in business. They get caught up in themselves. They go, oh my gosh, oh, this is the greatest thing. Oh my God, this is so important. And it overtakes them. And they don't have a family. They don't have a life. They don't have anything anymore. Just hang loose. Roll with it. Things happen in business. Roll with it. Make sure that you're God-centered and that you accept and what's rolling your way. Try to read it through, but hang loose no matter what's thrown at you. Stuff's going to be thrown at you in business. People are going to try to take you down. They're going to try to take your money. They're going to take your brand. Hang loose. Let it roll. Let them struggle in it. When you hang loose, it all works out. Also in business, very important, put in the hours. People a lot of times think they're going to start a business. A lot of younger people come to me and they ask me, what tips can you give me? I said, you got to put in the hours. You're not going to start this business. It's not a job. Your business isn't a job.
Yeah.
A job you can go to and leave,
Right.
you can vacation and come back. Business you start, it becomes you. It becomes a part of you. It's a breathing part of you. So love it, but put in the hours. Don't be afraid to put 12 hours in, 15 hours in, 16 hours in whenever you have to. I did that for probably well over a decade, doing 16 hours a day when I started up. Didn't it matter?
10 years, you did 16 hours a day.
16 hours a day. And that wasn't 7 days a week. That was usually only 6 days a week I usually work. Sometimes I did 7, but that was what it took to do that. I was working at Jimbo's back then and had my company to start up, which was pushing me to 16 hours a day. So I did that for 7 years, and then I changed out and just went solo, and I still put in the time. But just don't be afraid to do that. And the reason it didn't bother me, I wasn't sick all the time. None of those things happened. Why? Because I loved what I did. I put God first, and I said, I love what I do, and I enjoy helping people, always. I love that part of it. So don't be afraid to put in the hours. Don't run yourself down, because then it's trouble. And attached to that part, you can work 16 hours and have fun, and it's not 16 hours. To me, it's a party.
Yeah.
So
That's true.
loving what
Yeah,
you're doing,
that's
like you guys right now, you're loving what you're doing when you're doing that.
Yeah.
It's not 16 hours. There is no time. You're
That's
just,
very true.
you can't wait to do it again and again
Right.
and again and again. So when you're having fun, as the Beach Boys used to say, everything works out well. And then
And you worked out. You worked out during that time. You did at least one body part a day, 5 days a week.
absolutely worked out. I still got out in the sun, still did everything, I did, surfed when I could. I did whatever I could do. Had a family. So, I was juggling a lot, but I had a blast the whole time. It was fun. Even when I did, like when I was on TV on Sunday mornings, I did the Fat Burning Chef show every Sunday morning. It was just, I'd still have to get up and do that. That was tough sometimes, but I loved it so much, and it could reach a lot of people, which gave me a peace of mind. I don't enjoy doing something just for me or anything like that. It's important to me that it's for someone else, and that I'm getting someone else uplifted in that regard. Which brings me to my next point. You always have to put God first. If you put God first in your business, if you always consult with God, and that's always been one of my secrets. If I make decisions and I don't ask God first, I always struggle. Why? Because I didn't get the answer I needed to get. So when I actually say, God, give me the green light on this, is this okay? Then everything's fine. So when I put God first, it always works out well.
Right.
So, yeah. Next point, always stay fit. Always take care of yourself. Stay healthy. If you're not healthy, you're not going to be able to keep up the pace. You couldn't work 16 hours a day. You couldn't work 10 hours a day. You couldn't work whatever it's going to take to make that happen. So you've got to stay healthy. You've got to pay attention to that. Just because you don't always get enough sleep doesn't mean you're going to become unhealthy. When you're fired up and happy and doing God's work and God's will and God's way, nothing's going to stop you. You're unstoppable. That's the most important part of that, especially.
Brett wanted me to show that. I don't know if you can see this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a
That's right.
here at the studio.
It's
So
greater
we
than
see first thing when we
absolutely.
walk in every day.
Yeah.
As long as you will humble yourself, as long as you will, as
Yeah.
long as you humble, as long as you put your ego down. In business, it's easy to get that ego pumped up. I've been there and done
So
that.
true.
It's like, oh, look what Ryan did today.
So is
Yeah,
that 10? Is that 10?
No, he's only at like 5.
Okay. I was going to say, that seemed like there's more.
The what?
No, he thought, he's like, what are you at 10? I'm like, no, he's like on number 5 right now, or 6. I can't.
Can you hear me okay, Jay?
Oh, no, that's on number 7.
7. Okay. All right. 7.
Yeah, that was number 7. Sorry, I didn't speak out the numbers on those. So that's number 7.
It's okay.
Number 8
Sorry, we're
is
just
you
following
gotta.
along.
Yeah, number 8 is you gotta hire smart people. Hire
Yeah.
Yes.
good hires. Always get good people. They don't absolutely have to be the most well-educated. You're almost better off hiring people that are passionate and have a vision that's aligned with your vision, that are excited, ready to learn, that want to be in the trenches with you, that want to make things happen, that aren't afraid to work. And so make good hires and make sure that the person is smart and good and really wants to be there. Because that's always been important to me. I always ask every one of my employees, do you want to be here every day? Do you love your job? Is there something I could do more to help you enjoy your job? And that's the best. So that's number 8. Let's see. Number 9 is run from negative people. In business, not uncommon, especially when you're a startup, or you're starting a business, or you have a vision. You have this vision and you go, oh, I see it so clearly, but nobody else can. They never do usually. So you try to tell them, no, and no, that won't work. I remember my father, I love my father. He was a great man, a very spiritual man, and helped me so much. But I told him, I said, I'm going to open up a fitness club. And I said, actually a bodybuilding gym, because that was back in the day in the 70s. And he says, Jim, you're going to open a gym. You'll never make it in a gym. Gyms don't make it. You can't make a living in a gym. So what I do, of course, I opened up a gym and made a living and was very successful with it. Don't listen to negative people. Respect them. Don't but just say, I respect your opinion, but I know different. I know in my heart where I'm going and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And number 10 is to get you over the hurdles. And I've seen more people fail in life for this reason, whether it's business or not, is you have to reset your subconscious mind. You do. You have to go in and you have to program it for success. You're successful. Everything you touch turns to gold. Everything, and that has to go in there and has to go in over and over and over again. 21 straight days and then go on from there. Because I always tell I tell the story that when I was, it was about 1996. And my business was doing good, but it wasn't doing great. And I'd been in business for 8 years by then. And I'd started doing subconscious reprogramming before that. I always pray, I always do all these things, but I had a subconscious that I had subconscious stinking thinking, as Zig Ziglar used to kind of say. So it was really dragging me down, and it was a poverty consciousness that I was taught as a child, like you're not going to make money and so on. So I went in and rewrote that over and did it. It was working very well, and things were picking up by 96 and doing better. And so then I started listening to a program that said, you'll be a millionaire in 3 years. And I thought, this is an interesting subconscious program. So I listened over and over and over again. It just kept telling me that was going to happen. And 3 years later, in 1996, my CPA called up and says, Jake, sit down. I said, yes. He says, guess what? I go, what? And he says, you are officially a millionaire. And this is a true story. I don't mince my words on any of this. This is how poverty consciousness or a subconscious mind is programmed. It's not good or bad. It's just programmed that way. And you will self-fulfill from that. And that's why in spiritual world and with God, all things are possible. And when you can get to that part of your mind, that subconscious part of your mind that someone else put in there, you can change your life, and it's automatic. And so you're not always fighting. I really think sometimes people start going to church, or they start doing these things too, and they have a subconscious that's telling them not to do that. And sometimes that needs to be worked on so that taking your foot off the brake, so to speak. That's really what it's about. And,
so Jay, do you have any final tips for our listeners that are business related? Or any relation to anything?
Oh, I could talk for days, but let's just go. And since we're focused on business, I think it's very important that people understand ethical capitalism is something, is what I call it. It means if you're going to be in business, if you're going to dedicate your life to something here on earth and make a living from it, in other words, people will pay you to do what you're going to do, you need to have an ethical code. And that ethical code means that you're going to sell, teach, or do a service, products and so on, that actually benefit people, that actually help them, not harm them, that don't take them down, that, you know, it's like the difference between selling organic foods and junk food or something. That would be
Right.
a simple example. And I'm not here to judge people. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're going to go in business, I would want a person. I want you, if you're listening out there, I want you to think, what's my purpose with this, and who's going to benefit from it?
Right.
Who will be helped by this? And will we harm the earth in the process? Are there any price to this? Is someone going to get hurt, or animals going to get hurt, or anybody going to get hurt? Or is everyone going to benefit from this and be uplifted and help them? And so when you put out a product or service, even if it's just, I'm making, you know, aluminum siding, or I'm putting up screens, or I'm, you know, breaking the art, whatever it is, that's a beneficial service to people that helps people. Do your best when you do that. Practice ethical capitalism, and always do your best. There's nothing more that God wants you to do than your best. You can't do any better than that.
Yeah. So J. Robb, if people want to learn more about your 21-day program, or have any questions for you, want to buy some of your delicious protein powder, how can they get a hold of you? Where can they find you?
It's very easy. It's just my name, jrobb, JAYROB.com. So it's jrobb.com. I'd love to hear from all of you out there, and drop me a line. We're on Facebook too, JRobb Protein, or JRobb, or Instagram, JRobb Protein. So don't hesitate. Reach out to me, message me, whatever you need to do. I'm always open to anyone and everyone that wishes to reach out and touch my life, so I can touch their life, and to answer any questions you may have.
I have one last question. Those 10 top business questions, have you ever written a business book?
Have I written a fitness book?
Business book.
Business with a B.
I have business. I have not written a business book yet, but I will. I love to write, so I have one in the works. I wanted to get my 21-day life reset out, and then I think I'm going to do a business reset. I'll give all your listeners a tip or a hint. It's going to be
nice.
A business reset, and it's coming, and it's going to be
all right. I'm excited. That's awesome. Well, J. Robb, I want to truly honor you for being on the show today. I really appreciate your wisdom, life wisdom, and hang loose.
Hang loose. Love you guys. You guys are the best.
Thanks.